Every diet you can think of has worked for somebody. And every single one of those same diets has also failed for somebody else, doing the exact same thing, eating the exact same way. In my clinic, almost every patient walks in carrying a stack of something: a printout, a book, screenshots from an app, a list of supplements their neighbor swears by, and the diets they bring in: Keto, Atkins, Whole30, Intermittent Fasting, Carnivore, Plant-Based, Low FODMAP, and almost every one of them asks me the exact same question: which one of these is right for me? Here's the honest answer I give every one of them. And it's the same answer I'm going to give to you today. The best diet in the world is the one you can actually stay on. Not the one that's trending, not the one your neighbor lost 20 pounds on, the one you can live with. And this isn't just my opinion after 20 years of doing this. There's real research behind it. Research that, frankly, most of the diet industry would rather you never see. So let's get into this. If you're not careful, dieting to lose weight can become a merry-go-round. If you've been trying to lose weight for any length of time, you already know this cycle. You start a plan. The first couple of weeks feel incredible. The scale moves fast. You have energy. You feel like you finally found the one. Then somewhere around week 6 or maybe 12, things slow down. Life happens. A holiday, a stressful week at work, a vacation, and slowly the weight creeps back. At that point, most people don't think, maybe this approach wasn't sustainable for me. They think this diet must not have been the right one. So they start looking for the next one. And the cycle repeats, sometimes for years and sometimes for decades. Here's the thing that should make all of us stop and think. We've now had low-fat diets, low-carb diets, high-protein diets, plant-based diets, fasting-based diets, every possible combination, each one promoted as the answer for decades. If the specific diet were the deciding factor, one of those would have won out by now. But they haven't. And there's a reason for that. Let's get into it. In 2007, researchers at Stanford published a study in JAMA, the Journal of the American Medical Association. The study was called the A to Z Weight Loss Study. They took over 300 overweight women and randomly assigned them to one of 4 very different diets: Atkins, which is very low carb; the Zone Diet, a moderate carb, balanced macro approach; Ornish, a low-fat, plant-heavy diet; and Learn, a more standard, balanced, calorie-conscious diet. After 12 months, the Atkins group lost the most weight on average, but here's the part that almost never gets mentioned. Within each diet group, the women who stuck closest to their assigned plan lost significantly more weight than the women in the same group who didn't stick with it as closely, regardless of which of the 4 diets they were following. Then again, in 2018, the same Stanford research team ran an even bigger trial called DIETFITS. Over 600 adults randomly assigned to either a healthy low-fat diet or a healthy low-carb diet for a full year. Both groups were taught to focus on real whole foods within that assigned approach. The results: after 12 months, there was no statistical difference in weight loss between the low-fat group and the low-carb group. Both groups lost a meaningful amount of weight, just not different amounts based on what macronutrient they were told to restrict. The researchers even checked whether these people had genetic or insulin patterns that may have predicted who would do better on which diet. They didn't find any reliable pattern there either. A follow-up analysis of that same DIETFITS data looked at 2 things together: how closely people stuck to their plan and how high quality the food choices were within that plan. The people who scored high on both, that's good adherence to the plan and good food quality, had significantly better results than people who only had one of these or neither. 2 of the largest, best designed nutrition trials that we have, and they both point to the same conclusion. It's not which diet, it's how well you actually can follow it with real food for a long time. Here's why this happens. Every diet that has ever produced weight loss in a human being has done it through one mechanism only: a sustained calorie deficit, burning more energy than you take in. Low-carb diets work because cutting carbs removes a huge category of calorie-dense, easy-to-convert foods, things like bread, pasta, sugar, and increases protein and fat, which keeps you fuller. Low-fat diets work because fat is the most calorie-dense nutrient we eat, so cutting it drops calories fast. Intermittent fasting works because shrinking your eating window naturally shrinks how much most people eat in a day. Plant-based diets often work because they're higher in fiber and water and lower in calorie amount, so people fill up on fewer calories. Every one of these diets is a different door into the same room. None of them have some special metabolic trick that lets you break the laws of energy balance. What's actually different from person to person isn't their metabolism, it's which door feels the most livable. That's about food preference, culture, schedule, and psychology, not necessarily biochemistry. Fad diets don't usually fail because the underlying science is wrong. A low-carb diet generally will help you lose weight if you follow it. So will a low-fat diet. The problem is that most popular diets are built around extreme restriction, and extreme restriction is great for motivation in week 1, but it gets brutal by week 8. When a plan doesn't fit someone's actual life, their work schedule, their family, the foods they grew up with, the stress they're under, they end up white-knuckling it until they break. And when they break, they almost always blame themselves, or they blame the diet. Rarely do they correctly identify the real issue. The plan and the person were never a good match in the first place. Now, this connects directly to Factor 5 in this series, psychological strengthening. Most of the patients I work with already have plenty of willpower. They use it every day, at work, raising their kids, pushing through hard things. What's usually missing isn't willpower, it's a structure built to survive contact with real life. So here's what I want you to take from this. Stop asking which diet is the best one, and start asking, what's the smallest, most realistic change I can make, and keep making for the next year, not just the next month. A moderate calorie deficit built around foods you don't dread eating, with enough protein to protect your muscle and enough flexibility to handle a birthday party or a bad week at work. That approach will beat a perfect diet you can only white knuckle for 6 weeks every single time. That's not me lowering the bar. That's exactly what the data shows, twice, in 2 of the largest studies we have. This is why in our program, we don't hand someone a rigid printed meal plan and send them on their way. We build a structure around your life, your schedule, your preferences, your medical history. And then, where appropriate, we use medical tools or medications to make following that plan easier, not harder. If you've been bouncing between diets for years and quietly wondering what's wrong with you, there's nothing wrong with you. Most of those plans were never designed to be followed for a lifetime. That's not a personal failing, it's a design flaw. You can do this. Everything counts. The food we eat, when we eat, how much we eat, what we do for activity, our sleep, our thinking, and medication sometimes. Subscribe to my videos so you don't miss the rest of the 5-factor series on weight loss and health renewal. I'll see you in the next video. This is Dr. Greg Oliver. So long for now.